took place. Get them used to the idea. This is the cable car going up to the top of Stone Mountain. Caryn and I walked up. There's a very gradual incline on the side of Stone Mountain on the east side, if I recall correctly, or west side. And we walked up. It's about 1.25 miles to the top, and then we walked down. And here I think I drove Caryn back up. Took a few days off, drove Caryn up to Cincinnati and picked up a couple more kids and brought them down, or maybe I brought Michael down. Brought Caryn up, spent a day in Cincinnati, and then drove Michael back down. Hi, Caryn. And when Michael came down and we went to Six Flags, they were having some hot air balloon races right from the parking lot at Six Flags. So we watched that for a while. Rock City exhibit, Six Flags balloon. There's someone taking off. Michael looking very proud and handsome. TV camera guy running in, watching someone take off in the balloon. And then I took Michael back. We spent a couple days at Six Flags. Drove Michael back up to Cincinnati and brought back Tommy and Margie for their time. Had a good time, 38.18 on the counter. And we're at the paddle wheelers. Oh, we went on the whaleboat rides at Stone Mountain that day. And now Folka's down with Stephanie and Thomas. It's May of 1977. And we're going down to Savannah, Georgia. There's the tank I bought for Folka. Knowing we were going to have kids, we got a great big 9-passenger station wagon where the back seat went down and you had a great big area with big roof rack on it. Got a real good deal on that car. Some of the scenes in Savannah. Savannah is probably the most European-like city in Georgia, maybe even the southern part of the United States. It ranks a very close second to Charleston, although Savannah may be even prettier than Charleston in many ways. And we're just walking around the town, enjoying the scenery, and there's GBF, looking at some of the statuary in these French-like parks, a lot of French influence, the Holber showing through. So he's in his 40s now, folks. Hair's falling out. No pot belly yet, though. There's a squirrel up in a tree. You can edit this out when you do the taping. Folka and Thomas, Stephanie. Long legs on Stephanie there. Hasn't started to blossom yet. So this is 77. Steffi was born in 66, so she's 11. Thomas is 10. And, oh, this is our honeymoon trip. Okay, so now we're at Jekyll Island, I believe. Yeah, this was our honeymoon trip to Jekyll Island with Stephanie and Thomas, and Folka really took control here. Sand dunes at Jeckyll were really beautiful. Some more squirrels. Very tame. They came right down and ate out of our hands. Probably dangerous when I think about it, but they were so tame and so cute. They'd come down the trees and you'd have a piece of popcorn or something from dinner. And this is another super deal. This was a Marriott hotel or Sheraton hotel, I think $59 weekend, 3 nights deal, trying to get people to Jekyll Island to see what sights were like, including meals. Unbelievable. This was the view from the balcony. We had a big 3-bedroom, 2-bath condominium-like apartment. Here we are up in the balcony. Folka's coming down in her bikini, yellow bikini, going to the beach. And on the way back to Atlanta, we stopped in the Okefenokee Swamps, the real Okefenokee Swamps from the Georgia side. Much more interesting than the one you come up from Florida and hit. And here we're taking boat rides through, looking really happy, a lot of big smiles. Hi, Tommy. Hello, Stephanie. They had these boats that would take you down the various canals that had been cut by the Georgia Forestry Company. They had visions of knocking all the pine trees down, the thousands or millions of pine trees in this forest. So they built these canals through, which later became heavily populated with crocodiles. Those are huge alligators, rather. Some 12, 14 footers that we saw. A lot of natural wildlife. Guy with a full boatload of fish. Grand Prairie. They've named these canals. These are man-made canals through the swamp. And eventually the Georgia Forestry Commission decided to make the Okefenokee Swamp a national preserve or natural preserve. So I think it's a U.S. park now, but it was a Georgia park before that, before the U.S. Wildlife Service came into being. A guy with a very burned back, good tans. Look at the back on that guy. Probably doesn't show up on TV. The movies showed it. Oh, and here is Tiger. This was our version of Bummer. Tiger was out as a kitten. It's amazing how kittens immediately know that they have to scratch a hole and make. So much smarter than dogs when it comes to sanitary things. Tiger the kitten was born April 1st, 77 and died in 82 in Dunwoody. Ate some poison, we think, in somebody's backyard. Rat poison or something, and died. Cute little cat. It was a male, and we had it neutered before we moved to the Dunwoody house, but we must have had it neutered too late. Playing with a piece of charcoal there, I think. And as soon as it came into the house, Delrose Drive house, it sprayed the basement. We didn't know what it was doing until we went downstairs and we had to replace the carpet. It sprayed so badly, it just stunk a whole house up. But once it did that spraying, it never did it again, so that was the cost of a cat. She's playing with strings and kids were having a good old time. Why isn't that in focus there? Yeah, that's better. Tommy loved that cat. And it immediately took to balancing on the beams. I think that the string was up there, so it jumped up on top of this. This was our little closed-in backyard. Not really a garden, but the garbage cans were kept in there, etc. Cat, and there's Caryn. Caryn was visiting too. She's meeting our cat. Be careful, she's saying. Don't fall down, Tiger. Be very careful. Look at that on a single beam, just walking along. Cats are such natural athletes. Oh, and I think we're up at Lake Lanier, our first trip to Lake Lanier. Volka's got her red and white striped bikini on. This is where we discovered the idea of renting a houseboat, which is coming up. This is just one of the rafts and sections of Lake Lanier. Largest lake in the south, largest man-made lake in the United States, I believe. And then I drove Caryn back up to Cincinnati, and we stopped at the Lost Sea Underground Cave exhibit in Tennessee. And this is a very worthwhile underground cave to visit. You get on a boat, and there's a nice tour through the caves, something like the ones we made in Tahiti, Michael. Now it must be Mike's bar mitzvah time in Cincinnati. So what is this? June 18th, 1977. Art Frank, Jimmy Frank and Jamie and Janie. There's Art Frank and Ruth and Marion and Margie with her purse over her shoulder. Looking good, Artie. Mike Frank with the tallis that Gordon wore at his bar mitzvah, which was a gift from. And there's Grampy Frank giving his grandson, his oldest grandson, a big hug. Caryn looking very pretty. And there's this straw hat. Grampy, I think we went to some flea markets in Cincinnati where they bought a bunch of stuff, and he found that brand new straw hat for $25, I think it was. Beauty. We're somewhere in Cincinnati now. Marion. Ruth and Dad. Dad looking nice and fit. fin.